Something powerful happens when someone the public sees as strong, cheerful, and always in control decides to speak honestly about their health. It changes the room. It softens the noise. It reminds everyone that behind the bright studio lights and confident smiles, there is a real human heart beating, hopeful, sometimes worried, but always resilient. When ITV star Ben Shephard opened up about his recent health journey, it wasn't delivered with drama or spectacle. It came with sincerity, with warmth, with that familiar calm tone audiences have trusted for years. And in that moment, viewers weren't just watching a presenter, they were listening to a man choosing courage over silence. Ben has long been known for his steady presence, the kind of broadcaster who can guide a conversation with ease, crack a perfectly timed joke, and make guests feel instantly comfortable. There's a natural charm about him, a quiet confidence that doesn't need to shout to be noticed. So when he shared that he had been navigating a personal health challenge, the impact wasn't loud, it was deep. He spoke with gratitude first, gratitude for family, gratitude for colleagues, gratitude for the simple ability to pause and reflect, and that gratitude set the tone. This wasn't a story about fear, it was a story about perspective. Viewers could sense the honesty in his words. There was no attempt to dramatize the situation. Instead, there was balance, acknowledging the difficulty while emphasizing hope. And perhaps that's what made the moment so moving. It felt real. For years, audiences have welcomed Ben into their homes. Morning routines, evening catch-ups, light-hearted segments filled with laughter. He has been part of everyday life for so many people. So when he spoke about stepping back to focus on his health, it felt personal to viewers too, like hearing news from a friend. But what truly stood out was his attitude. He didn't frame his journey as something that defined him. He framed it as something he was moving through, a chapter, a challenge, not a conclusion. There was even humor woven into the conversation, classic Ben. A light remark about hospital gowns not being the height of fashion, a playful comment about doctors giving him strict instructions as if they were producers backstage. Those small sparks of humor didn't diminish the seriousness of the situation. They highlighted his spirit. And that spirit is what resonated most. Because strength doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like calm honesty. Sometimes it looks like choosing to smile, even when the circumstances could justify tears. Sometimes it looks like admitting vulnerability while standing tall. As soon as his message reached the public, the response was immediate. Social media filled with words of encouragement. Messages poured in from fans across the UK and beyond. People shared their own stories, thanking him for speaking openly. Some said his honesty gave them courage to talk about their own health struggles. Others simply sent love. There's something incredibly powerful about shared humanity. When someone in the spotlight says, "I'm going through something too," it breaks down invisible walls. It reminds us that no one is immune to life's unexpected turns, not even the people who seem most composed. Behind the scenes, colleagues reportedly rallied around him. Support wasn't just digital, it was personal. And that sense of community reflected what viewers were feeling at home: care, respect, admiration. It's easy to celebrate someone during their highlights, career milestones, awards, big announcements, but the real measure of connection often appears during quieter, more uncertain moments. And in this case, that connection felt genuine. Ben also spoke about perspective, how health challenges have a way of reshaping priorities. Suddenly, the small stresses feel smaller. The important things become crystal clear. Family dinners, laughter, a simple walk outdoors. The everyday becomes extraordinary. He described learning to slow down, something many people struggle with in fast-paced industries. Slowing down doesn't always come natural to driven personalities, yet in that pause he found clarity, reflection, even gratitude. There's a romantic beauty in that idea, not romance in the fairy tale sense, but in the way life can surprise us with lessons wrapped in difficulty, the way challenges can reveal strength we didn't know we had, the way support can appear from places we never expected. And through it all, Ben maintained that familiar twinkle in his tone, the same warmth that's made him such a beloved figure for years. He didn't allow the narrative to become heavy. He kept it human, balanced, honest. Fans noticed. One viewer wrote that his openness felt like a reassuring hand on the shoulder. Another shared that seeing someone so composed speak about vulnerability made them feel less alone. These reactions weren't exaggerated, they were heartfelt. It's interesting how public figures sometimes become symbols without intending to. In this case, Ben became a symbol of resilience, not because he declared it, but because he demonstrated it quietly. He acknowledged that there were difficult days, that not every moment felt easy, but he also emphasized progress, support, determination, the understanding that healing, in any form, is often a journey, not a single event. And that message matters.
Social media
Especially
often
in a
highlights
world where
perfection.
social media
Perfect
often
smiles,
highlights
perfect lighting, perfect
smiles,
lives.
perfect
When
lighting,
someone steps
perfect
forward
lives.
and says,
When
life
someone
isn't
steps
always
forward and
perfect,
says,
and that's okay.
life isn't always
It feels
perfect,
refreshing.
and that's okay.
There was also
It feels
something
refreshing.
undeniably heartwarming
There was also
about
something
the way he
undeniably
expressed
heartwarming about the
appreciation for
way
his
he
viewers.
expressed
He
appreciation
didn't speak
for
as
his
though he
viewers.
was separate from
He
them.
didn't speak
He
as
spoke
though
as
he
though
was
he was
separate
part
from
of a
them.
shared
He spoke as though
experience,
he was
a
part of a
community
shared
built over
experience,
years of
a community
conversation
built
and
over
connection.
years of
That
conversation
humility
and connection.
deepened the impact.
That humility
Because
deepened
courage
the
without
impact.
humility can feel
Because
distant,
courage without
but
humility
courage
can
with
feel
humility
distant.
feels
But
relatable.
courage with humility
Even in
feels
discussing
relatable.
medical appointments and
Even in
lifestyle
discussing
adjustments,
medical
he
appointments
kept the
and
tone
lifestyle
grounded.
adjustments.
No
He kept
dramatic
the tone
declarations,
grounded.
no
No
unnecessary
dramatic
detail,
declarations,
just
no unnecessary
transparency.
detail.
A reminder
Just
that taking care of
transparency.
oneself
A
is
reminder
not
that
weakness,
taking care
it's
of
wisdom.
oneself is not
And
weakness.
perhaps that's one
It's
of the
wisdom.
most important
And
takeaways
perhaps that's
from his
one of the
story.
most important
Health
takeaways
isn't
from his
something
story.
to ignore until
Health
it demands
isn't something
attention.
to ignore
It's
until
something
it
to
demands
value
attention.
consistently.
It's something to
His message
value
subtly
consistently.
encouraged people
His
to
message
listen to their
subtly
bodies,
encouraged
to
people to listen
prioritize
to their
well-being,
bodies,
to
to
seek support
prioritize
when needed.
well-being,
But
to
he
seek
never
support when
positioned
needed.
himself as giving
But he never
advice.
positioned
He simply
himself as
shared his
giving
experience,
advice. He
and
simply
that
shared his
authenticity made
experience,
all the
and
difference.
that authenticity
As
made
days
all the
passed,
difference.
the wave of support
As days
continued.
passed, the wave of
Fellow
support
presenters shared
continued.
kind words.
Fellow presenters
Longtime
shared
viewers
kind
posted
words.
clips of
Longtime
their favorite
viewers
moments,
posted
celebrating
clips of
his
their
humor
favorite
and
moments,
professionalism.
celebrating his
It became
humor and
less about the health
professionalism.
update
It became
and more
less
about
about the health
appreciation.
update and more
Appreciation
about
for years of dedication,
appreciation
for early
for years
mornings,
of dedication,
for steady
for
hosting
early
during
mornings,
unpredictable
for steady
news
hosting
cycles,
during
for laughter
unpredictable
during
news
tense
cycles,
quiz show
for
moments,
laughter during
for being
tense quiz
present.
show moments.
There's
for
something
being
poetic
present.
about the way life
There's
sometimes
something poetic
asks us
about
to
the way
pause,
life sometimes
reflect,
asks
and
us to
reconnect
pause,
with what truly
reflect,
matters.
and
In this
reconnect
case,
with what truly
that
matters.
pause created
In this
a bridge
case,
between
that
Ben
pause
and his
created a
audience
bridge
that
between
felt stronger
Ben and
than
his
ever.
audience that
And
felt
through it all,
stronger than ever.
optimism remained
through it
at
all,
the center.
optimism
He made it
remained
clear
at
that
the
this was
center.
not an ending.
He made it clear
It was a
that
chapter,
this was not an
a
ending.
season of
It was a
focus
chapter,
and recovery,
a season
time
of
to
focus
reset
and
before
recovery,
stepping
a
forward
time to
again with
reset
renewed
before
energy.
stepping forward again
That
with
reassurance
renewed
brought
energy.
comfort,
That
not because it
reassurance
erased
brought comfort,
concern,
not
but because it showed
erased concern,
determination.
but because it showed
Fans aren't just
determination.
invested in careers.
Fans aren't
They're
just
invested in
people.
careers.
And when
they're
someone
invested
they've
in
watched
people.
for years
And when
shows
someone they've
strength through
watched for
honesty,
years
that
shows
bond
strength
deepens.
through honesty,
There was
that
even
bond
lighthearted
deepens.
speculation about
There was
how
even
he'd
lighthearted
return,
speculation
whether he'd
about
bring
how
new
he'd
jokes
return,
about hospital
whether he'd
food,
bring new
or
jokes
tease
about
colleagues
hospital
for covering
food,
for him,
or tease
that
colleagues
playful
for covering for him.
anticipation felt
That
hopeful,
playful
because hope
anticipation
is
felt
contagious.
hopeful.
Because hope
In sharing
is
his journey,
contagious.
Ben didn't
In
just
sharing his
inform
journey,
viewers,
Ben
he
didn't
inspired
just
them
inform
to
viewers,
check in on
he
loved
inspired
ones,
them
to express
check in on loved
appreciation,
ones,
to remember that
express
strength and
appreciation,
vulnerability
to remember
can
that
coexist,
strength and vulnerability
and perhaps
can
most
coexist.
beautifully, he reminded everyone
most
that
beautifully,
asking for
he
space
reminded
to heal
everyone
is
that
not
asking
stepping
for
back.
space to
It's
heal
stepping
is not
wisely.
stepping back.
As this
It's
chapter
stepping wisely.
continues to unfold,
As this chapter
one thing
continues
remains
to
certain.
unfold,
The
one
admiration
thing
for
remains
him
certain.
has only grown,
The admiration
not
for
because
him
he
has
faced
only
a
grown,
challenge, but
not
because of
because he
how he
faced a
faced
challenge,
it,
but
with
because of
honesty,
how he faced
with
it,
humor,
with
with
honesty,
grace.
with humor.
If his story has
with
touched
grace.
you, consider
If his
what
story
part
has touched
resonated
you,
most.
consider
Was
what
it the
part
courage to
resonated
speak
most.
openly?
Was it
the
the
reminder
courage
to
to
speak
slow down?
openly?
the reminder to slow down,
support,
the power
moments
of
like
community
these
support,
invite reflection.
moments like
They
these
encourage
invite
gratitude.
reflection.
They highlight
encourage
resilience
gratitude
in its purest
They
form.
highlight resilience.
And as
in its
viewers
purest
continue
form.
to send love
And as
and
viewers
encouragement,
continue to
one
send
message
love and
echoes clearly.
encouragement, one
Strength
message
isn't
echoes
about
clearly.
never facing
Strength
difficulty.
isn't
It's
about
about
never
facing
facing
it with
difficulty.
heart.
It's about
Ben
facing
Shephard
it with
did
heart.
exactly that.
Ben Shephard
And in doing
did
so,
exactly
he
that.
didn't just share
And
a
in
health
doing so,
update.
he didn't
shared
just share a
humanity.
health update. He shared humanity.